Hey guys, and welcome to the episode Friendship and MS. So in this episode today, we're going to be delving into my friendships, how they impacted me since I was diagnosed, or have they impacted me at all? What my friends have been like, the support I've received or not support, let's just get into it all. So starting off, I have had the way I like to describe my friendship group, I don't really have one group. I have lots of different friends in lots of different groups. Now, I've always seen this as something really beautiful because it kind of is a representation of me in a sense. So I feel like I'm quite a diverse person and I have lots of different interests. Like, even for example, my music sort of range is so varied. Everything's varied. I've got all these different random hobbies and I am quite a sociable person, so I don't really find it hard to make new friends as such. Like, I have no problem just walking up to somebody and be like, hey, like, what's your name? The way that I kind of view life is like, we're all humans that have been put on this planet and I just kind of wanted to get to know everybody. I'm like a golden retriever. I'm literally like a Labrador. Like, I just want to be friends with everyone. However, saying that, I have sort of kept the same friends throughout my life, and the way that I view my friendships with these people is they are like family to me. They have been there through thick and thin, through my MS diagnosis, and where I feel like life is just really busy, and on top of that, having an MS brain, if you know, I do find it hard, although I am such a loving, outgoing person, I can find it hard to sort of upkeep those friendships sometimes, if that makes sense, where life gets so busy and I have so many different plates that I'm spinning at once. Sometimes, like this actually happened a couple of days ago. I feel awful. I think I mentioned I think it was my episode with Sean, and we were laughing about what bad replier I can be. It's very true. It can be bad. And one of my friends actually messaged me like, hello, like, are you ignoring me? And that kind of like snaps me into reality, like, shit, like, I have my friends here, I need to respond to them. But one thing I love is like they don't take these things personal, but having that kind of friendship where you can say to someone like, hello, like, what are you doing? And it's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, girl, I love that. I don't like friendships where everything's so demanding all the time, or it's sometimes I've been in friendships before where it feels like I'm actually in like a toxic relationship, where if I didn't do that, it wouldn't be a case of like laughy, like, oh well, you haven't replied to me, where have you been? It would be like a full dramatic paragraphs, how they don't feel valued. And I get that, I understand everyone's different, but I feel like I found the friendships that work for me, and not just me, it's not, it's a 50-50 street, like, it's the same. I've essentially found the people that work so well with who I am, which leads me into, when I was diagnosed with MS. So one friend that I see really prominently, like in my story of when I was diagnosed, is my friend Alicia. Now, I've actually known Alicia since I was 2, so a long time. Although we don't really remember each other at that stage. Our mums met at Toddler and Tots, and we used to play together when we were kids. Like, we have like videotapes where I'm seen like playing with her. We go to each other's birthday parties, and then she went to a different school, I went to a different school, and we just sort of lost that contact, as you do when you grow up and you sort of, just go to different paths to other people. And then we reconnected in high school. Now, I know everyone calls things different things. You've got like secondary school, upper school, but mine was high school, okay? Although I'm not American, for some reason, it was high school. So when I was in year 7, I met her again. Didn't know who she was. I don't, had no memory of this when I was 2. And then I came home one day and I said to my mum, like, oh, mum, I've met this new friend called Alicia. And she was like, oh, what's her surname? And when I told her, she was like, you used to be friends with her when you were like a toddler. And then she went home and said the same thing to her mum, and then we found out that, yeah, we actually used to be, like, really good for, like, family friends. And then we just reconnected from there, and she's been my, you know, I call her, like, my soul sister. Like, she's one of my, like, bestest friends, from, like, the age of about 12 now, when we sort of reconnected in year 7. But the reason that I'm mentioning Alicia especially here is because when I was 17, when I was first diagnosed, well, sorry, not diagnosed, when I had my first symptom, so confusing. When I had my first symptom, I was 17, and me and Alicia, we were like each other's right hand. We did everything together. And it's a bit naughty. We started going out, you know, going to the pubs, getting away, having a few drinks at 17. And we used to do this like every weekend. We spent all of our time together. And I'll never forget, and she'll laugh about this as well. I sent her a text when I first lost my eyesight in one eye. And also I was texting Alicia at the same time, like, what is going on with me? I don't know what's happening. And I don't know if any of you will remember. If not, I don't know. There was a singer around this time when we were 17. I can't believe I'm saying this on my podcast. Called Fetty Wap. Yeah, okay. So, and he had one eye. And we used to joke around that I was Fetty Wap, essentially. Even though I still had both of my eyes, I just couldn't see. So what I'm trying to say is, from the get-go, it was kind of, everything's kind of, you know, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And obviously my best friends are there for me regardless, but we would just kind of like make it funny. And I loved that because it helped me in not taking life too seriously. And that's why I can just remember Alicia really prominently when I first had this first symptom. And then obviously I told my other friends, but I feel like where it felt, I don't know, I'm trying to look back now, and I'm trying to think about the times that I actually specifically told all of my friends that I had MS, and I actually can't really remember. Thinking about it, I think it was just something that just became part of conversation. They already knew about everything that was happening to me, like with my eyesight, and that was going to the doctors. They were on that journey anyway, so nothing was like a shock. And then I think I just said to them one day, like, I've had more tests and it's come back that I've got MS. But I've mentioned this in my diagnosis episode. I said that I had a feeling deep down that I had MS. So I feel that I must have been talking about this amongst my friends and saying I think this is what it is, and they were probably saying, you know, don't jump to conclusions, but I was like, no, I think this is what it is. And me and my friends, we always have really deep conversations. We're like those girls that just talk about what is the meaning of life, and we talk about everything. There is no surface level with my friends, which is what I love, because I can only do surface level talk at work. Do you know what I mean? I can do small talk there. But if I've got my best friends in my life, I need those deep conversations. And they are exactly the same. Like, we could just talk for hours and hours and hours. So I've always been really open, and I've been on that journey with them all and said, you know, I've got this appointment next week, this is happening. It's always keeping each other updated. So I think when it came out and I said, yep, they've diagnosed me, it didn't come as a surprise to me. So I feel like that same energy kind of went back onto my friends as well, and we're all kind of in it together. So of course, naturally, it's not, you know, it's hard, but I feel like with my friends, because I'd had them in my life for years and years and years. Like my other best friend, Izzy, I met her when I was 5. My other best friend, Jada, I was 11. Like, these friends I've literally grown up with. Like, they are my family. So I've never felt worried about what they're going to think of me or if they're going to judge me for this or that. And they're the kind of friends that I could sit in on a Tuesday evening with and just watch TV and do absolutely nothing. But I can also go out on a Saturday night. So I never worried that it was going to affect my friendships. That was the last thing that was on my mind. I would say it's more so if it's affected me in any way, it would probably be with, so these three friends that I've mentioned, they've been my friends since I was a child. And they're still very, very prominent in my life right now. Like, I could call them this very second and they'd be there, and it's the same with them. We talk nearly every day. And then I've made some sort of new, like within the past few years, some new sort of best friends who are the same. I could call them up right now, they would be there, and vice versa. But of course, I've had friends where I've been really close with at one point and not so much anymore. Well, not at all, really, not at all. But I wouldn't. That's nothing to do with my MS. I've actually never had anyone who's my friend. Don't get me wrong. I've had people who've made me feel a bit shit about my MS. But do you know what I've thought to myself? I wouldn't want you in my life. Like, if you're gonna talk or speak about MS in that way, or judge me, I don't want you in my life. So I'm quite good at sort of instantly just cutting those people out and not giving them like the time of day to even think about, because I've got like these beautiful, like magical friends in my life. So I don't need, unless like you're going to add more to my life, I don't actually need you. Do you know what I mean? Without sounding like, yeah, like I said at the start, I love making new friends, because I feel like every new person that you meet helps you understand a new side to you. It kind of is like unlocking another part of yourself. And that's something that I've always been really interested in, is like character development and learning new things about myself. And that's what I love, what new people can do. However, that doesn't always mean it's going to be something positive. Some new people that you meet may show you parts of yourself in a negative light, but that's still growing. I'm so open to like anything that just shows that I can grow as a person. But I would say probably my main struggle that I've had with friendships, now bear in mind what I'm going to say from some of these experiences, obviously no names are going to be named at all, but these experiences I'm going to say now, they have not once, and this says a lot, they have not once happened with the best friends that I've had and I still have to this day. I have never, and that's how I know that something's not quite right, because with these friends that I have at the moment, like I say, I've got 5 best friends on my hand. They have never, ever, ever made me feel this way that certain people have in the past, okay? So that's how I know, actually, the way that you are, this like new person I've met and I've become friends with, the way that you are makes me feel uncomfortable, or makes me feel like I'm compromising my standards. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I have just never felt that way with the ones that are here now, and always have been. So let's just use some examples, because you're probably thinking like, what is it? What makes you feel that way? Okay, I'm sure a lot of you can relate who've got MS, but it's the friends that just don't quite understand your fatigue, and it sounds so silly, but it's not silly. Like, if I had a night out planned with a friend, and it's been planned for ages, and we're both really looking forward to it, and they know me, they know I love a night out, and great person to go out with and have fun, let my hair down. But if I was to message and say, look, I'm really not feeling great, like my fatigue is just awful. Now, my best friends who are here now, still currently with me to this day, they'll be like, oh, girl, like, honestly, don't worry about it. Look after yourself. We can always do that another time. Did you want me to come round? We could just watch a film. We can relax. Don't worry. Whereas the friends that are not here anymore, and I'm not saying this is the pure reason why, but it's just little things like this that you can pick up on and think, that person's not actually good for me. And it'll be like, wait, what? You're cancelling? And I'd be like, no, like, I really don't want to cancel. Like, I'm so looking forward to this, but like, I feel like I can barely move my legs. Like, this fatigue is so bad. And they're like, yeah, but like, we'll just take a nap. Or, yeah, but I'm tired as well. But I'm like, and I just feel so shocked in those moments, because that I have MS, and I've spoken to you about how fatigue is just a completely different level of tiredness. It's not, I could sleep for 12 hours, I still feel like I can't physically move. Do you know what I mean? So that used to really feel like it let me down a lot. And then another thing, it's okay to laugh at sometimes, but obviously others may look at me and think I'm very clumsy, which, yeah, it's funny, you know, a bit clumsy. But a lot of the time, my coordination is off. It's because of my MS. And that can really affect me. And I just, yeah, I'll laugh it off like, yeah, I'm so clumsy. But actually, no, my brain is not doing its job. And I will trip over thin air. And my foot will just stop working sometimes, drop foot, and I trip up and I knock into things. I don't sometimes have that spatial awareness because my brain just isn't, it's not programmed like that, you know? And it's funny to laugh every now and then, but I've had perhaps a certain friend in the past who would really, really make me feel a bit stupid because of things like that. And it kind of became a joke that was not a joke anymore. And that really affected me because, again, like I said, with the best friends that I have now, always have done, still here, they have never, ever, ever made me feel stupid. They make me feel like the most wonderful, beautiful, intelligent woman, because that's what they, to me, that's what they are. And they give me that exact same feeling back. And we are just so, we encourage each other, we support each other. So it was really an eye-opener to feel how sort of small maybe this person was making me feel over things that already affect me. And I understand, yeah, you can make a joke about things. I like to laugh, like I said at the start, like me and my best friend Alicia calling me fatty wet, but like we can have a laugh, but it's that sort of mutual respectful laugh, and it's not something that gets carried on and something that actually makes you feel quite shit. Like I remember this person used to always like just say like, oh, I'm not always there in the head, like pretend to like knock, oh, is anyone there, oh, you're falling over everything, oh, you're this, you're that, and like haha, like just laughing all the time. And then they would start doing it to other people about me to make them laugh at me, and I just realised it was like these little red flags I was having, and I thought, no, no, sorry, there's laughing with someone and having a joke, but that's too much now. That is absolutely too much. So, and it was always things that would be linked with my mess, always. And I just didn't like how that made me feel. So I suppose that, but you know what's funny? It's kind of like these things you could never actually say because they're not like, it's not someone directly saying to you about your MS or that they're kind of taking the piss out of you because of your MS. Like, it's not black and white, but they would do it in kind of like really small, like manipulative ways where like no one else would pick up on, but you know that it's making you feel uncomfortable. And then it's really hard to actually express that with other people because they'll be like, what are you talking about? You know, make you feel crazy. So I've had a few moments like that. And there's other stuff, but stuff that I don't really want to like put too much out. Obviously this is a podcast that anyone can listen to. Guys, I hate drama. I absolutely, if you know me, I cannot stand drama. So if I feel like there's any like bad energy or drama, I my heart actually like races. I hate it so much that I just do not want to be involved. But yeah, that's obviously, this is fun because again, this is just kind of like small little pieces, bits and bobs. But yeah, when it comes down to friendships in general, I wouldn't say that I have felt massive discrimination. I've never had a friend that's not directly been friends with me because of MS, which in some ways, like with the one I was just mentioning about the small little, you know, getting at me about things, making me feel a bit stupid, but doing it like really discreetly. I would rather them just not be friends with me because of, or like tell me something straight, because yeah, that stuff can drive you crazy because you think, am I just overthinking it all? Am I? And you know, if I would like express stuff like that, it would kind of be like say to that person, it'd be like, oh my god, like you overthink everything, like proper like gaslighting stuff. So I have definitely experienced that, and I've had it before where like friends like that person in particular is kind of like, I don't expect you to always ask me about my MS. However, it would be nice sometimes for you to just kind of check in and ask, how am I doing? Like, how's my MS been? But I understand that when people don't really understand something, it's hard for them to even kind of approach that in a sense. Whereas I'm because I am so open with sort of my best friends, if I'm going through a hard time, I will tell them. They'll be like the first person that knows. Like, I would message them straight away and tell them what's going on. But it's sort of sometimes, I suppose, having friends who don't maybe always acknowledge that can be really hard. But I'm lucky enough that the friends that I have now are just so they have no clue what MS is. Like, honestly, they don't have anyone else like in their lives who have MS, and they are so supportive. Like, ever since I've been doing these podcasts, they have been watching, they message me like, when's your next one coming out? They listen to them on the way to work. And I feel like that's just really beautiful because, yeah, like, they know I've got MS. But like I said, with them, I wouldn't really say anything's happening until I'm in like a really bad place. So it's not like, I don't really make it like topic of our conversations. Like, we'll be talking about other things, you know, just general stuff that's going on like in our lives. But now, since I've been doing these, they actually like listen to them, and it's educating them a lot more at the same time as well. And another thing with my friend, since this has sort of come about with my podcast, she said to me, she was like, Danielle, I don't know why this is happening, but like in nearly every conversation I've been having, MS has been brought into it. And she's like, I just keep telling people about your page and like promoting it, and, you know, they share it on their stories. It's just, like I said, I'm very, very grateful with the women that I have within my circle. We're also inspiring and supportive of each other. However, certain friends in the past have not maybe been that way, and I think that's when you just need to have, if that's happened to you or you find yourself in that position right now, I think you just need to take a step back sometimes and take a look and think about how you feel around certain people, because your body can tell you way more than you could ever imagine just by listening to your gut and how you are around certain people. If you had to say to somebody, say you're out and about and you suddenly had to say to them, can you just come with me? I need to get out of here. I really need to go to the toilet. Can you help me find this toilet when like you're on your way somewhere? And if you had, let's use that example actually. Say you're walking somewhere and you know you need the toilet now, because we know that with MS you struggle with your bladder and whatnot. And you said, say the walk to the place was 10 minutes away, and you said, look, I really need to find a toilet right now, but like there's not many toilets around. Can we quickly find one? If they turned and said to you, oh, can you just hold it? Like, we're gonna be there in like 10-15 minutes. Can you just hold it? And then you'll look at them thinking, hold it? Oh, I wish I could. But if they're like, oh, come on, like, it's not gonna be, you're just gonna make us, like, say you've got a booking and it's in 10 minutes. And they're like, you're gonna make us late. Can you just hold it? Whereas, let's switch that around. Say you were with one of your best friends or someone who really cares about you, and they saw your distressed look, and they know you've got MS, they know that this stuff can affect you, and they said, yeah, of course, like, and they put straight away in their maps, and they find the nearest toilet possible, and they make sure that they get you there, and then you're like, oh, I'm sorry if we're going to be late, and they go, don't worry about that, you know, it doesn't matter, and the booking holds for like 15 minutes anyway, and it's more, you know, I don't want you to wait yourself in the middle of the street. Now just think about those two examples, and I know it seems really small, but it's the really small things like these that make a massive difference to someone living with MS. All we're asking for is not for you to understand completely, but to just support us in what we're going through. And I just think it's really important to look at the friendships you have and think, who makes me feel safe? Who makes me feel heard? Who doesn't question me on things? Because we shouldn't need to be questioned, or we shouldn't be told that we have to hold something. You know, we're not asking for the world, we're just asking for somebody to just be mindful and understand, even if it doesn't make sense to them. So I think that's one thing to just really take away. If you take away anything from this podcast, it's how do you feel around certain people? Do you feel safe? Do you feel supported? Do you feel loved, most importantly? And that's how you can pretty much tell if you've got a good friend, and vice versa. Of course, it swings around about, you know, you can't expect to have all of this and not be that person for them also. But sometimes you have to show up a little bit more, and especially if your friend has, you know, a chronic illness that they're going to have for the rest of their lives, there might be times that they need you just a little bit more. So don't gaslight yourselves. Don't let yourself think that somebody doesn't mean it when they keep taking the piss out of you over and over and over again. Just look out for how you feel with certain people. So yeah, we're going to get another episode in. I actually want to get one with my best friends that I've mentioned. So we can kind of grill them, we can interview them what it's like to have a best friend with MS. But also so we can just get that perspective, and you can see the kind of friendship as well that I'm talking about. But yeah, today was just kind of a basic, you know, how has it affected me? Has it affected me? But I hope you guys enjoyed. And I've also mentioned as well, I'm doing my podcast now fortnightly, not weekly, especially with it coming up to Christmas. I have just got... do you know what? I'm that person that signs myself up to everything. Like, everything feels great in the moment. Like, I want to do everything. And then it comes to it and I'm like, I don't even have time to breathe. But yeah, so I'm changing them to fortnightly. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And also, this is the last podcast of November. I can't believe... Right, I need to stop because I'm just stressing myself out more. It's December this week. Right. Anyway, have a lovely week, guys. And I hope that you enjoyed. Bye.